Today, we are going to be doing the first edition of Prospect Dawns 2025 NHL Mock Draft. Let's do it. Sim in the lottery, and Pittsburgh wins. Then Anaheim comes in at two. All right, this is wild. This is going to be a fun one. All right, so was not expecting that, honestly. I think if Pittsburgh gets the number one pick, they're going to be taking Matthew Schaefer. Matthew Schaefer be would learn from Eric Carlson if they ever played together. I think Kyle Dubas would run to the podium to pick up. They don't have a lot of elite prospects, so getting Matthew Schaefer into the fold would be phenomenal for them. Anaheim Ducks, they have an incredible core of prospects. I think that they have a lot of centers with Leo Carlson, Mason McTavish, Trevor Zegras could be on the trade block, but they also have him, playing wing. They have a lot of good defensive prospects as well. So I actually think they would probably take Michael Misa. I would say Michael Misa here. I think that would be a really good fit for Leo Carlson's line. Or I mean, they just took Beckett Seneca, so yeah, I would say Michael Misa there. San Jose, I think San Jose would probably take Porter Martone. I think getting a 6'4" winger that could play with either Celebrini or Will Smith, if they choose to have him at center, I think that would just be a really good haul. Obviously, the dream scenario would be Schaefer, but they're not going to take a defenseman here. I mean, you could take Jackson Smith or redeem Mrtka, maybe a Logan Hensler, but you would have to trade down significantly. You have Sam Dickinson, but I don't see San Jose if they went to three drafting a defenseman. And then you have the Chicago Blackhawks here. Who does Kyle Davidson take? Okay, so obviously James Hagens is the number one player left on my board. I think that there's a clear top four in this class, and he's the top four. But will Chicago continue to draft smaller centers? He's a playmaker. He is star upside, in my opinion, but there is question marks. He didn't really perform as well in the NCAA than consensus would have thought, but I thought he still had an incredible season. So I'm actually still going to take James Hagens here. The other players that could be in play would be Caleb Desnoyer or Anton Frondell as a bigger center, or Roger McQueen if you're looking for that upside play. But I think Chicago would take James Hagens. And then number five for Nashville. Nashville is three first round picks. So I actually think that they're going to target upside, upside, upside here. They did not expect to be here in the offseason when they won the offseason. So winning the offseason doesn't really mean much, but this pick could be Roger McQueen. I think that they would probably it would be Roger McQueen or Caleb Desnoyer. Um, I'm gonna go Roger McQueen. I'm higher on him than most people. I interviewed him earlier in the before he came back, and he actually announced that he was coming back on my podcast, so that was pretty cool. But I just think that Nashville would want that upside play. Boston, who thought that Boston was going to be in this position when they broke all those records a couple years back and then lost to the Florida Panthers? But I'm going to say that Boston takes Victor Eklund. Oh, actually, no, Anton Frondell. I'm taking Anton Frondell here. I'll take Anton Frondell. They need that center. They've lost a lot of their core centers recently. One to retirement and one during free agency this year for the trade in a trade this year with Brad Marchand. So I'm going to say Anton Frondell. And then Philadelphia. Philadelphia, I believe, has Caleb Desnoyers' brother in the AHL. So I'm actually going to have say that. I think that it would be between him and Eklund. A lot of the centers just got taken off the board. I'll go with Victor Eklund. I think he would be the best player available in this draft right now. Next is Seattle, and I think that Seattle Kraken would take well, a really fun one would be Redeem Mrtka staying in Seattle. I'm higher on Redeem Mrtka as well. I think that he wants to be the best Czech defenseman of all time. He said that when I was interviewing him. He is just a really good kid. I think that he's going to woo them in interviews, and I don't think that they want him to leave Seattle. He has he's performed very well. If you haven't watched Redeem Mrtka play, I would definitely highly recommend him watching him play. And then Buffalo, they traded Dylan Cousins. I don't think that they need anybody on their defense, if we're being honest. Jackson Smith would be falling here. If I'm Buffalo, I'm taking Caleb Desnoyer. I know he's still available, and it's probably going to shock some people that Seattle didn't take him over Mrtka would just be a really fun fit in Seattle. So then that pushes Desnoyer. Desnoyer is not falling that far. If he did, if this was the draft simulation, I think that that'd be really fun fit with Buffalo with Desnoyer. Very good 6'2" player. He has been incredible in the queue. Being in the queue might make him fall a little more because it's not the best league. Definitely more on the higher offensive upside player, but I mean Jake O'Brien is still also on the board, but I do not see I don't see a team passing on Dane Aurier at the ninth pick. So we're gonna go to Columbus at 10, and I think this is where Jake O'Brien actually comes off the board. It's just based on upside. This guy could be a top five player. There's just too many good players. I mean, Mrtka probably is the guy that I had mentioned in the top 10 that kind of falls because there's just so many good players. I am one that is really high on this class, and there's a drop off. I mean, there is from four, but I think that anywhere from like 5 to 12, maybe 15, it's similar player. They all have their question marks, but they all have incredible upside. So yeah, I'm gonna say Jake O'Brien to Columbus. And then number 11 for the Islanders. Let's see. They took Cole Iserman last time in the first round. I mean, they could in their goal scoring. Maybe they take a player like Lyndon Lakovic, very high upside, 6'4", learning to play in his body at 190. Played incredible at the WHL level this year. I'm a huge fan of Lyndon Lakovic, so I feel like that would be a really fun pick with the Islanders. They're probably going to take highest upside available too. It's kind of pick your poison this draft, but I would lean towards highest upside. And for 12 with Detroit, I'm actually going to take Carter Bear here because they have a lot of good defensive players. Carter Bear lacerated his Achilles, but I still believe he's a top 10 pick. So Detroit might pull the trigger. They have good defensive prospects. They have their pieces set. So I think Detroit could go upside. With the Rangers, their season has kind of collapsed there a little bit. I'm gonna actually take Jackson Smith here, the left-handed defenseman. I think that Jackson Smith has a lot of upside, and the Rangers are kind of best player available. So best player available along with what their needs are. I think they weren't actually expecting to be here. So if they do keep their pick, Jackson Smith I think would be a really good option. All right, for the Utah Hockey Club, I'm actually going to take Malcolm Spence here. It's kind of like he is Malcolm Spence is one of those guys that you want on your team. 190 pounds. He has size. He has that height. You can tell that he plays a kind of top six role in the NHL. I could see. I could project him as a top six player. So Utah already has a ton of talent, and even if he is in the top nine, he would be a top nine with upside, like third line pair. I mean, third line with upside, I could totally see him playing first line minutes, or I could see him playing on the first line just because of the game he plays. Plays hard to play against. He's somebody that you would hate to play against in the playoffs, but love to have on your team. He brings that physicality as well. He is skilled, scoring, good skater, tough to push off the puck. I think that Malcolm Spence here would be pretty good. He is. I interviewed him a couple weeks ago, and I thought we he wowed me in the interview. So I think that he's going to also wow other teams. He said all the right things. He knows exactly how to be a pro. But Malcolm Spence is one of the guys that I like a lot. So Utah's getting a steal here. We're at Vancouver now, and for Vancouver, Cameron Schmidt. I'll say Cameron Schmidt here. 5'7", but a lot of upside. He probably has top 10 skill in the entire class. Craig Button had him listed at 8. I think that he could go higher than this, but I don't think that the slide will continue. And then for the Habs to close out our mock draft, I actually think that they're going to go with Justin Carbonneau. He is somebody that has performed exceptionally well at the Q. I think that we could see him actually going higher than this, but the Canadians walk into a potential top 6 with upside player. He's raw but he's skilled, and I think that at higher levels of play he might actually elevate his game. So he's one that I would think that the Habs could target, or a player of similar stature of upside, because you have 16 and 17 right here. So I think that with Cameron Schmidt gone, and you don't really want Cole Caulfield with Cameron Schmidt unless it's on the power play, I think that the Canadians go with Carbonneau. Maybe Brady Martin, but he would be an honorable mention on this list. But thank you so much for joining today for my first mock draft. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. If not, then don't like and subscribe. But there's going to be more content like this. So thank you so much for listening to the end, and peace.